Sneeze here. This is I got a sneeze issue going on. I'm about to sneeze. And if there's any number of curious things about the way my body kind of works. One of them is when I sneeze, I don't just sneeze once. I will sneeze. I like to do the over-under on sneezes. That's a little game we play. Whenever I start sneezing, I'll say, all right, over-under on this one is 15. And I'll take the over because I domino sneeze. And I'm working on one. And as soon as one comes, I'll tell you what, we'll set the over-under because I don't know how strong this one is. But a sneeze is going to come. Let's set the over-under on 5. And let's take the under. Let's take the under. Let's say this, if the sneeze ever comes, it will be under 5. Probably be over. We'll see. That's a fun game we can play. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the High Noon Rant. I am your humble host, Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time. We bring you all the day's news, headlines, hot topics, current events, whatever it is people are buzzing about, whatever it is that's happening in the world today. I give it to you. I wake up very early for you. Wake up very early, brew that coffee, walk the dog, and then I start going through the newspapers and compiling a list that I present to you every day at noon. We've been doing it for 2.5 years. We're in year 3, and I thank you all for allowing that to happen because, boy, oh boy, talk about a reason to get up, something to get excited about every day, something that you want to do. This show is performed every day for you as a stream of consciousness. Now, what does that mean? That means that there's a rough outline of stuff that I'm talking about. Like I'll see like a one-word thing and then I'll just go. There's no scripts. There's no breaks. There's no commercials. There's no traffic. There's no, we're going to play a song here. None of that. This is just me for 2.5 hours talking to you conversationally and a little bit, I don't know, sometimes I come a little hard. Sometimes I got to work up the passion, because it's just me. So I got to kind of, keep it interesting. But it's 2 hours at least every day of just nonstop, no interruptions, content, news, and hot takes. How do we do it? 4 quarters. I look at it like a football game. Each show is 4 quarters. First quarter, we do a segment called Erstwhile on This Day. That's where we take a look back at the events that have shaped our understanding of this day. It's this day in history, just rebranded and done differently. Quarter 2 is birthdays. That's where we take a look at people who were born on this day. We open up, the books on them and we decide, do we like them or not? Are they cool? Is this a cool person having a birthday? Bottom line, do we wish them a happy birthday? Quarter 3 is where we have a little fun with people who have died. That's right. It's the deads. We look at people who died on this day. And then again, life's resume. Are they in heaven or hell? We decide in quarter 3 if these people who died today probably went to heaven or hell. That's the game. And those are the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter of today's show, it's the meat and potatoes. It's the bulk of the show. That's the events of today, the headlines, the hot topics, the current events, all the things that people are talking about. All right. So hit myself with the mic again. I've only been doing this since Groundhog's Day, 1992. You'd think I'd figure out how not to hit myself in the face with a mic, but, here we are. This show runs on your gratuities. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have any advertisers. So if you're so motivated to support this kind of talk radio, and what do I mean by that, this kind of talk radio? Non-divisive, non-political. This show is being done here. Not because I don't have the credentials or the resume to be doing this on the radio somewhere. I do. It's just I can't. I don't want to just do radio for people of one political orientation, and that's kind of what I see out there in talk radio. And I'm trying to show that we can do a different kind of talk radio. We can do a kind of talk radio that doesn't appeal to people solely based on how they voted. And that's what this is. And if you support that kind of a show, we're going to put up a little thing there, Venmo, Cash App. You want to drop a tip, that's great. We appreciate that. But each day we like to award the executive producer of the show. The executive producer of the show is the person from the previous show who gave us the nicest tip, and we appreciate that. Today's executive producer is a heartfelt appreciation for Mama Beller. Mama Beller is she tipped yesterday. We don't get much tip. We early part of the month we don't get much tips because we push hard at the end of the month. And this month is going to be screwed. This month is always screwed. I don't know. It's Christmas. You people got bigger and better things going on than trying to support your favorite type of talk radio. So I get it. But thank you so much to Mama Beller. Mama Beller is today's executive producer. That means a lot to me because this is a woman. She doesn't have to do this. She knows me since I'm 12 years old. She's like one of my oldest and best friends' mom. That's why that one means a lot to me. So thank you so much, Mama Bella. I love you. Let's see here. What do we have? What do I need to do? Anything else that we need to do? No, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I can put this up. Here you go. Just in case you're so motivated. Want to join the ranks of Mama Bella or want to be tomorrow's executive producer. We do start that contest now. So there you go. Enough of that stuff. I hate it. I'm not an evangelist. You know, I hate that part of the show. I like this, the meat and potatoes. Let's say hi to the people in the chat room. Jeff's here. Peter's here. Jameson's here. Hold on. There she is. All right. See, it's like Taronda says hi in the beginning, and I appreciate that. But now I look for her every day. It's got to be there. And she's there. So thank you. Cam's here. What up, Cam? Appreciate seeing Cam. Appreciate seeing Barney. My guy, Barney. April, Leslie. Now's when I start skipping names on accident and people get upset. Jen Hernandez. Oh, Peter, our music man. All right. Chuck Nelson is here. All right. So everybody come on in. Make yourself comfortable. Gather around. Join the chat room, futons, beanbag chairs, whatever it is that you need for the next 2 hours as we blast off and learn all about this day here on the High Noon Rant with me, Pugs Moran. I almost said maroon. Should have said moron. It is the 14th day of the 12th month. That's December. It's December the 14th, year of our Lord, 2023, the 2023rd year since we began counting. December 14th is the 348th day of the year. There's 17 more of these until New Year's. 17 more. You already have your New Year's Eve plans. You already do. I'm wondering what day, at what point did most of you suddenly have your New Year's Eve plans? Actually, who am I kidding? I never. It's more important to have options than to have plans. That's what I think when it comes to New Year's Eve. Because the plan never goes off as there's always something that changes the plan. So options are always important, which is why I never do it was $200 at the Hilton and it was all you could drink with a champagne toast. Those always suck. You know what are the best New Year's Eves? House parties. Just go to a house party. Find some people you want to be around. I don't know, maybe 50 of them. They can bring down whatever, nice, good-sized house party. I don't need to be in some ballroom of some hotel I haven't been to in 20 years because nobody goes to these shitty hotels. You know, I'm talking about the shitty ones that nobody goes to anymore. They always have these $100 all you can drink. All right, let's get started. It is the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. Let's get quarter one on the books, huh? Quarter one of today's show, a little thing we like to call Erstwhile on this day. Erstwhile on this day, where we take a look back at the events that have helped shape our understanding of what exactly December the 14th is represented throughout our lifetimes. Let's start in 1542. Princess Mary Stuart becomes the Queen of the Scots at the age of 1 week old. Talked about her birthday last week. I said, hey, Mary Queen of Scots was born on this day. She caused some problems, and here we are 1 week later, and the problems have begun. Why? Because old 1 year old Mary Queen of Scots, her dad, King James, just died. And James V, I should say, King James. And now she's a 1 week old Queen of Scotland, which I don't, look, this was some very tough times for Scotland. They were trying to figure out their own country. Are they still a part of the British monarchy? What's going on there? And they got a 1 week old making the decision. So that didn't play out too well. On this day in 1819, Alabama became the 22nd United State. That's right. 22. Welcome to the party, Alabama. Never been. There's a handful of states I've never been. Alabama is one. Never been. Never crossed through. Never. That's probably because I never traveled to Florida in a car from Texas. I have traveled from Chicago in a car to Florida, which is why I've been in Virginia and stuff. Because there would be no other reason other than maybe a trip to, Washington and I stay in Virginia. But you know what I'm saying? Never been to Alabama. Welcome to the party, Alabama. A state on this day in 1819. On this day in 1836, erstwhile on this day, the Toledo War unofficially ends. You guys know what the Toledo War is? We don't know about this stuff. We never learned. That's like a made-up word. That's like the name of like a punk band or like an emo band. Yeah, an emo band from like outside Cincinnati. They're called the Toledo War. The Toledo War was a real thing, you guys. Michigan and Ohio went to war, and the war lasted a year. Did you guys know this? Not just about college football. It's actually about a war that was waged in 1836. It ended, okay? So 1835, 1836. Ohio was already a state, but Ohio was looking to expand. And what they wanted was they wanted a piece of territory that was already claimed. But they wanted a water port in Toledo. It's a river that runs from Lake Erie down through Toledo. And it was considered at the time, especially with Western expansion, it was considered to be a very important place. And people of the time believed that Toledo, Ohio was going to be just like Chicago or Philadelphia or whatever. I mean, that didn't happen, but they waged a war on the premise that Toledo was going to be an incredibly important part of the United States. It lasted a year, and then Michigan became a state. The federal, and then the war had to end because they're like, well, no, they're a state now, so they're just like you. But the Toledo War, it was a real thing. Michigan and Ohio went to war with each other. On this day in 1903, the Wright brothers made their first attempt to fly with the Wright Flyer at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Did that not work? It's the first attempt, right? So you gotta, this ain't the one. Which is the one that we all celebrate? Was that like try 18? Or was it like try 2? Because try number 1, and it wouldn't be phrased that way if this one was successful. It'd be like the Wright brothers took flight for the very first, and doesn't say that. It says the Wright brothers make their first attempt. So I'm thinking this didn't go well. On this day in 1985, Wilma Mankiller. Whew. She became the head of what is this? Some Indian nation here in America. Principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, the first woman to ever hold the position. I only mention it because that is a badass name. Mankiller. Wilma. First of all, Wilma. Like if her name was Lisa, or if her name was like Karen Mankiller, it'd be like, yeah, that's funny. But Wilma, there's something about Wilma. Like there's something mythological about that. I don't know what it is, but that name seems a bit more powerful than just your Wilma Mankiller. Let's move on. On this day in 2012, okay, let's change the tone. For crying out loud. Got to talk about Sandy Hook with a bounce in my voice because I'm talking about the cool name Wilma Mankiller. Sandy Hook happened on this day 11 years ago. Yeah, 2012, Sandy Hook. No, I'm not gonna rant unfiltered about Sandy Hook. God, you know what I will say? I will say this about Sandy Hook. I remember that day. So, oh my God. Was it a Monday or was it a Tuesday? My kid at the time was in like a nursery school, kindergarten kind of a deal when this was happening. And I remember watching on the news the story of Sandy Hook begin to break. There are shots fired, and that whole thing, how we started to watch it. And as I sat there and watched this news story over the course of the next couple hours on this day, as it became apparent what it was, holy crap. I just remember as a parent panicking, just completely panicking. Now, look, my kid didn't go to school in Connecticut, okay? But the very idea, the empathy that I instantly felt for these parents, the faces of these parents that were gathered in the parking lot and all that kind of stuff, and the idea that I myself was in just as vulnerable position, because this just can happen anywhere, right? I'm Sandy Hook, Connecticut. That seems like a very nice, very upscale kind of area. I mean, just, man, that was a rough day. That was a rough day. And then, of course, we here in Texas, we got the pleasure of, everybody experienced Uvalde, but it seemed a little bit different that time because it was here. All right, moving on. We don't need that energy. That energy. Let's revere the lives that were lost on that day. Let's honor them, but let's move on. All right, on this day in 2017, the Walt Disney Company announces that it would acquire 21st Century Fox from the Murdoch News Corporation, including 20th Century Fox Movie Studio, for $52.4 billion. And this is why, if you want to watch Simpsons reruns, you now have to have Disney Plus. All I want to do is all I want to do is just like binge a whole bunch. There's like 30 something seasons of Simpsons material. And you're telling me that I can't watch a random season 4, episode 10 when I want to? It's 2023. Well, you can. You just have to pay the mouse. No, there ain't nothing else I'm going to watch on Disney. I ain't paying $10 a month for the Wizards of Waverly. Well, I don't need that. My kid don't want that. My kid's 14. He doesn't watch Disney anymore. All right, that's it. Let's do it. Erstwhile on this day, Q1 is in the books. Let's do some birthdays. Let's talk about people having birthdays today. They say it's their birthday. All right, these are people having birthdays born on this day in 1896. General Jimmy Doolittle. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a real American hero. James Doolittle, he, of course, the Doolittle Raid. What was the Doolittle Raid? Very important piece of World War II history. The Doolittle Raid was the first incursion over Tokyo, the first bombing mission by American warplanes over Tokyo. Tokyo, in the 2,000-year history, or whatever year history, this was a very big point of pride for the Japanese. In 2,000 years, Japan had never been invaded. They had been impenetrable. They had considered themselves, look, Japan dominated China. So something weird was going on there. China, which is like 1 billion times bigger than Japan, was brought to heel by the Japanese Empire. So something was going on there. The Doolittle Raid was the first time somebody attacked mainland Japan. It was risky and it was successful, and there would be plenty of bombing missions over Tokyo after the taking of Okinawa and all that. But this was early on. This was crazy, and it kind of worked. It wasn't really all that effective as far as destruction, but what it did was it freaked the Japanese people out, because part of their identity was they couldn't be touched. That they'd never, in the history of all the barbarians and all these wars everywhere, they had never been touched. Jimmy Doolittle did it, born on this day in 1896. Born on this day in 1902, Frances Bavier. Here's one for you old folks. This is one for the old. She's Aunt B. She's Aunt B from the Andy Griffith Show. And I don't know, we should look up Frances Bavier, right? Or whatever, she didn't see if she was hot, because don't we always do that? Look at Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies when she was 25. She was a smoke show. Stuff like we like that. I don't know. I'm not going to look up Frances Bavier. Born on this day in 1902. Happy birthday, Aunt B. Long dead, by the way. Aunt B's been gone a while. Born on this day in 1908. Oh, my God. It's old head black and white TV hour. And this is crazy because my whole life growing up, these two shows are linked. These two shows, it was always an hour block. It was like you would get the Andy Griffith Show for 1/2 hour of the block, featuring birthday girl Frances Bavier as Aunt B. And then for the second half hour of the 1 hour block, you would get the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's right. Yesterday was Dick Van Dyke's birthday. Today, Maury Amsterdam. Buddy Sorrell, born on this day in 1908. Maury Amsterdam. Born on this day in 1946. More old school TV for you guys. One of my favorite little minxes, little Hollywood minxes. She's a clone. She came out of the Sandra Dee, Sally Field. There was a line of clones that were created to be 20-something good girl next doors, and Patty Duke was one of them. Patty Duke, born on this day in 1946. Here's the thing about Patty Duke, though. Somebody put some kind of a bug in her system, because Patty Duke was look. I am not someone who judges anybody sexually, but let's just say this. She was a sexually empowered woman at a time when women were not, it was not something that women wanted to be publicly known for. She wasn't publicly known for it. This was all behind the scenes stuff. This is all stuff that had come out. Stories about people engaging in crazy 70s swinger sex, and the name Patty Duke is often brought up. And about her she had this weird situation with John Aston, Gomez Adams, Gomez. Like Sean Astin, Rudy from the movie Rudy. Like Rudy is her son, but like the dad, nobody's sure about who the dad is. John Astin Gomez Adams is like the name that he was given, but Anyway, it's a weird story. Anyway, I love Patty Duke, and I love that she has this edge, and then we only know about it now, like later in life. Not an edge for the time. She wasn't what they tried to force down our throat. She was actually a more three-dimensional individual with a fun side. Let's put it that way. Born on this day in 1948. Here's another one. This is another one. This happens a lot with Hollywood clones. Dee Wallace. Do you remember Dee Wallace? Dee Wallace was an actress who probably could have worked. Well, she did. She worked very consistently, probably between 1980 and 1986, and then she just disappeared. She was no. Dee Wallace is the mom from E.T. That was not like, it wasn't like, oh, and there's a no name playing the mom. It was like, oh no, that actress Dee Wallace is playing the mom. Oh, this might be good. She was actually kind of a respected and highly regarded and well thought of young actress back at the time. And then nothing. Dee Wallace, there were a number that were discontinued at the same time. Dee Wallace, another one you may remember named Bess Armstrong. Yes, Bess Armstrong was another actress from the Dee Wallace clone line. You can look these people up. I'm not making it. This is not just me freewheeling these Hollywood clone theories. I've done the research, people. Just wait till my YouTube channel launches in 2024. Born on this day in 1949, Billy Buckner. Billy Buckner, the Buckner Ball, a guy who just, my God, that poor dude. Billy Buckner, Boston Red Sox could have broken their World Series curse about 20 years before they ended up doing it, but Billy Buckner let one go through his legs. It's unfortunate. Born on this day in 1949, Billy Buckner. He's dead now, too, by the way, and he shouldn't be because he's young. He was young. Bill Buckner, born on this day in 1949. Born on this day in 1966, Anthony Mason. Boy, oh boy. Give me this Draymond BS. There's a Draymond's trending. We'll talk about Draymond Green later today. Draymond by today's standards is a you gotta suspend that. Have you people ever seen the way our birthday boy Anthony Mason used to play for the New York Knicks? Are you out of your mind? Do you know what basketball was like in the 90s? Some of you do. Some of you know. I know my guy Adam Rayner, he's a big brown ball head. I know he remembers what it was in the 90s. There were no rules. It didn't seem. The Detroit Pistons in the early 90s were basically just a street gang out there throwing elbows. Bill Laimbeer was a monster. Anyway, Anthony Mason was part of that school. Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley. I'm talking about the New York Knicks thugs. God, Mason and Oakley, even John Starks, who wasn't necessarily an in the paint throwing elbows guy, he was also a thug. Ugh, basketball was so thuggy back then. Born on this day in 1966, Anthony Mason. Born on this day in 1988, Vanessa Hudgens. What is a Vanessa Hudgens? This is the Clone Factory has gotten really sloppy in the last couple of years. I have no idea. She's obviously from the line of Selena Gomez's and Vanessa Hudgens's and who's the other chick? Who's the one that's broken? There's one of these chicks from the clone line that's all broken. She's all glitchy. She's got like addiction issues and stuff. She's a singer. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what a Vanessa Hudgens is. I can't tell the difference between a Vanessa Hudgens and a Selena Gomez. And I don't know. All right. Born on this day in 1988. Born on this day in 1991. Offset, American rapper. He's from Migos, don't you know? Offset and Cardi B, they were one of my favorite couples. You know, I have a power ranking for my favorite celebrity couples. Currently, Dak Shepard and Kristen Bell sit atop my power ranking of favorite celebrity couples. But Offset and Cardi B were in there. They were fun. They were silly and they did cool things. You know, I don't know. They were fun. Well, it's Offset's birthday and they're getting a divorce again. I don't know. They're always like in and out of divorce. Who knows? Offset, born on this day in 1991. Born on this day in 1997. By the way, Offset's got 5 kids from 4 different women. What? What? Come on, man. That's not good. That is not good. Not good by my understanding of what good is. It's just not good. It's just not good for the kid. It's just not. I don't know. Look, I was raised non-traditionally. I was raised by a single mom, an only child, right? So non-traditionally, but good Lord. Does that become okay? Like I wince. Like when I hear a dude's got 5 kids by 4 kids 4 kids by 5 moms. He's got 2 by Cardi B. That's right. 5 kids by 4 moms. God. Like, is that something that just happens because in that individual's life experience, that is something that he has seen, like, normally? Like, those cousins, got 5 kids by 4. I don't know. Does it? What I'm saying is how do things become normalized in people's minds based on their life experience? It's very complicated to kind of walk through, and not without judgment. I'm just trying to figure it out, because to me, based on my life experience and projecting my own values, that seems really jacked up and not at all normal. But if that is a situation where it's normal for you to know people who have 5 kids by 4 different baby mamas, if that's normal, if that's something that has always been normal, then my projections from a different life experience mean absolutely nothing to them, because, normal is normal to them. A good example of that is, like, I grew up without a father. And when people say, so what did your dad do? And I go, well, my father died when I was very young. Their response is always, oh, I'm so sorry. Because, see, they're projecting their understanding of normalcy. They're projecting in that moment what I must have lost based on what they know they have, right? That's what it is. But you can't lose something you've never had. So I always have to go, oh, no, please don't. It's fine. It's not a thing. I don't know. The things we normalize based on our own life experience and what we see around us. All right, let's move on. Born on this day in 1997. How about this guy, DK Metcalf? I think he's my 14-year-old son's favorite NFL player, or at least one of them. He likes Dak, and he likes CD, and he loves Micah. But I think DK Metcalf might be the non-cowboy that my son likes most. I mean, part of me believes, maybe Justin Fields is in there somewhere. But I can't push you. You don't want to be a dad. Let him like DK Metcalf. That's fine. Not a problem. All right, let's move into the deads. That is Q2 in the books, the birthdays. We've gone through them. Now let's talk about the people who have died on this day. Open up their life's resume and decide whether or not they're in heaven or hell. Okay, first and foremost, dead on this day in the year. What year was this? Let's see. For crying out loud. Dead on this day in 1920. 1920, the year the Chicago Bears were founded. On this day in 1920, George Gipp passed away. George Gipp. Who's George Gipp? Well, he's one of the most iconic names in college football history. He is win one for the Gipper. There have been movies made about George Gipp. Hell, President Ronald Reagan portrayed George Gipp in the Newt Rockne story. Win one for the Gipper. George Gipp, dead on this day in 1920. Well, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Do you think I'm going to put him anywhere but heaven? George Gipp is going to heaven. Shut up. I'm a Notre Dame guy. Dead on this day in 1943, John Harvey Kellogg. That's right, Kellogg, the guy who started Kellogg's. The guy who started the Kellogg's breakfast cereal empire, and this has to be noted, and invented cornflakes and dry breakfast cereals. The guy who did all that by accident. That was just his side hustle that grew out of his normal thing. John Harvey Kellogg, who died on this day in 1943, was a doctor. He was a doctor in Battle Creek, Michigan, who created a luxury hotel for super rich people who just needed to get well. It's a Betty Ford clinic. It's basically, he opened the first Betty Ford clinic where rich drunks could go and dry out, but it was also for people suffering from other things. It was the highest standard of accommodations. It was incredible. I mean, we're talking royalty from Europe would come and stay at this place. And Dr. Kellogg used to work on all kinds of things for these patients. He used to work on, one of the things that he worked on was dietary stuff. And he wanted to create for patients who had difficulty digesting food, he wanted to create an easy breakfast. So what he did was he started baking shit. He started making these giant loaves of like oats and wheat, and then he would shatter the bread into crumbs. Anyway, the guy created this thing. Here's a funny story. All right, we'll get to the whole thing about Kellogg. But he created this thing called granula. Granula. He named it granula. And he's like, people can eat it if they have bad stomachs like ulcers, and it'll be good for them for the morning. Granula. And there was another company somewhere else who already was doing something. They called it Granula. So Kellogg had to change the name. And he's like, oh, they won't let me use Granula? Fine. Call it Granula. Call it granola. I don't care. So that's where the word granola was invented, because he created the first granola cereal. But it was his cornflakes that he made for people with ulcers because it didn't hurt them and it was bland. It's his cornflakes that took off. And it was like his brother or something, or his brother-in-law, who said, hey, man, you mind if I sell these cornflakes to people that aren't staying here? And they did. And that's how breakfast cereal became a thing. So John Harvey Kellogg, I am putting him in heaven. Why? Because he seems to have dedicated himself to helping people who were sick. I mean, he really did. He really did sort of have this doctor's thing. But also, have you ever gone down the cereal aisle and looked at all of the amazing Kellogg cereals, right? I mean, it's General Mills, Kellogg's, and Post. Those are the three big ones. Come on, man. Every kid loves breakfast cereal. He's in heaven. Also, dead on this day in 1975. How about this name? Arthur Treacher. You guys know who Arthur Treacher is? Well, I'll tell you who Arthur Treacher is. What is he most famous for? Well, see, but that's the thing. That's the interesting thing about this guy. Okay, so if you're old like me, if you're a Gen Xer, you remember from your childhood in the 1970s a chain of restaurants called Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. Kind of in the way that we see Long John Silver's now, although let's not kid ourselves. Long John Silver, I don't know what that is. You want to talk about, okay, you want to get me to believe in the lizard people conspiracy? You tell me that it's all being run in sub-basements of Long John Silver's. Because there is nobody ever in a Long John Silver's. Have you ever driven by there? There's nobody ever in a Long John Silver's. Nobody ever in the drive-thru. There's never, nobody. Long John Silver's is the worst. Anyway, Arthur Treacher's was good Long John Silver's. It was fish and chips. It was giant. My grandpa used to go. My grandpa loved fish and chips. He used to take me there. We used to go to Arthur Treacher's. But anyway, so the story of Arthur Treacher's are no longer around. Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. They were good. They should bring those back. If we're bringing back all kinds of stupid things from the 70s, why not Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips? Now, who was Arthur Treacher, the man who died on this day? Because he was a real guy. And this is what's so funny about this. Arthur Treacher had nothing to do with fish and chips. He wasn't a chef. He wasn't a restaurateur. Arthur Treacher was an actor. He was he played butlers. He played very proper British butlers in movies in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And he was well known to American TV or movie audiences of the time. Kind of like a John Gielgud type, or, something like that. So some dudes wanted to open fish and chips. They wanted to try and get Americans to eat fish and chips because it's so popular over there in England. They figured, our cuisines aren't all that different. Let's do a line of fish and chips restaurants. And they had to come up with a name, like a brand ambassador. And they turned to the guy that everybody in America knew as the British butler. And that's how Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips became a thing. I'm putting Arthur Treacher, just so we're clear. I am putting Arthur Treacher in the, hold on. Here, I'm putting Arthur. Let me show you this. I found a commercial. I found an old Arthur Treacher's commercial just so you could see how delicious this fish and chips looks. By the way, the best fast food fish you can get is, and I maintain this, it's the McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. I will hear no McDonald's Filet-O-Fish slander. Here you go. How about an old school fish and chips from Arthur Treacher's commercial?
Teachers, please don't take our sign too literally. Our specialty isn't just delicious tasting fish.
Yeah, it is.
Our specialty is delicious food. Sure, Arthur Treacher's got famous for the original fish and chips, but we also specialize in boneless chicken and chips, and shrimp and chips, even our own mouth-watering sandwich.
I have to give Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips credit for something, because it was the mid-1970s, and it was the first time that I saw what I would later in life come to recognize as the chicken nugget. Arthur Treacher's had like a version of a chicken nugget. They were a little bit bigger. They were maybe more like a chicken stick kind of a thing, but it was the first time I'd ever seen that. There were no boneless chicken nuggets on the market back in 1975.
Come to Arthur Treacher's and let us cook you our specialty. The only thing we need to know is which one. Arthur Treacher's, we are something else.
Yeah, you are. You're something else, Arthur Treacher. Arthur Treacher is going into heaven, dead on this day in 1975. Bring those damn restaurants back. Okay, here's another one I can talk a little bit about on this day in 1993. I remember exactly where I was. I was working in the newsroom at WLUP. This was early in the morning that this came across. It was after the morning show. Kathy Voltmer was our newswoman, and I was producing for her, which means that I was just pulling the stories off the wire as it came across and then typing them up into bulletins and that kind of thing. You know, the jobs of 1993. So I'd only been there less than a year. So I'd only been an intern there for less than a year. I remember when this came across, and Bill Holub, who was the news director in the newsroom, he got it first and he pulled it and he goes, "Hey, aren't you from Orland Park?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you know Jeff Alm?" And I'm like, what'd he do? Yeah. So it was on this day in 1993 that Jeff Alm died. Jeff Alm was a guy I grew up with. Jeff Alm was a guy I played Orland Park Pioneer football with for probably 6 or 7 years of my childhood. He was a year older than me. He was the best pure football player that I'd ever seen. Like I knew, like as a kid, even though he was a year older than me, I'm like, yeah, that dude ain't built like the rest of us. That dude's a little bit different. He was a defensive tackle. He would obviously go on to be an incredible football player. He played for Carl Sandburg High School, where he was all state. He was full ride to Notre Dame. Made a name on the the Notre Dame national championship team of '89. He was a big part of that. Got drafted in the second round. Was he a second or a third round pick? Jeff got drafted by the then Houston Oilers in the second round, and it was on this night in 1993 that Jeff Alm and Sean Lynch, another kid from the neighborhood, Sean Lynch, another guy. I knew Sean better than I knew Jeff. Jeff and Sean were best friends. Sean was my age. Sean was in my grade. Jeff was a year older than us. And it was on this day in 1993 that Sean Lynch came down to visit his buddy who had just got drafted into the NFL. I mean, imagine the fun they're having this weekend, right? And by the way, these are good kids. These are good guys. These are not bad guys. I can tell you, knowing them from the time that they were, these are good kids. The worst thing that I can say about Jeff, and I'm perfectly comfortable saying this now, is that he was a roid head. He was a roid head. This was in the era of roids, man, where you would have a 17-year-old senior in high school that just barrel-chested and huge. I mean, that was the era that they came out of. Anyway, Sean Lynch was visiting Jeff down in Houston, and they went out to dinner, and they had some drinks. And although Sean's blood alcohol was really bad, Jeff's wasn't that bad. Jeff's was over the legal limit, but Jeff wasn't like wasted. So they had a car accident. Something happened with the car. I've heard stories that the axle broke. You know, I've heard all kinds. Anyway, it was a car accident. And because Sean Lynch wasn't wearing his seatbelt, he was thrown from the car. Jeff was driving. It was a Cadillac. Well, a 23-year-old, draft pick in the NFL, bought himself a Cadillac. He's driving. Sean Lynch is thrown from the car. He falls down a ravine onto an overpass, gets run over. Jeff comes out of the car, looks over the overpass, sees his best friend in life, blames himself for what he did. Jeff goes into the trunk of the car, pulls out a handgun, shoots himself in the head right there. Killed himself because he felt so guilty that his friend had died in this accident that he was driving. Jeff Alm. A tragedy on this day, 1993. I'll never forget where I was when I heard that story. Hey, Pugs, you're from Orland Park, right? You know Jeff Alm? I'm like, yeah. What happened? That's a rough one. That's a rough one because, that's the only example of when I was a kid to see somebody who came out of the exact same situation who was famous now. He was not famous. He's a defensive tackle. He was a rookie and he wasn't even a starter, but still he was a draft pick and he would have had a career. We were proud of him. We're like, man, look at that. He's the first Orland Park pioneer to make it to the NFL. Probably the only one. I don't know. All right, Jeff Alm died on this day in 1993. Dead on this day in 1998, Norman Fell, ladies. Oh, by the way, Jeff, I'm putting Jeff in heaven. Absolutely putting Jeff in heaven. It's like you try to, I'd like to be able to sit here and pretend that I was better friends with him, but I wasn't. He was a year older than me. He lived on the other side of town. We played on the same teams, but he was always a star starter, and I was a bench guy. We weren't exactly in the same circles, but we knew each other, Like I remember I was at a different high school's party when I was a junior, and it was a different high school than what Jeff went to too. And Jeff was there. And so we hung out. We hung out because we were both like, yeah, you don't go here. I don't go here either. So what's going on? You ever see Sean anymore? You know, it was like that kind of thing. Anyway, it was on this day he died. Norman Fell died on this day in 1998. We're putting Norman Fell in heaven as well. Norman Fell, of course, Mr. Roper. Norman Fell, he's in the original Ocean's 11. That's badass. That's cool. I mean, look, it's kind of cool, I guess, among millennials and Gen Zs if you were in one of the remakes of the Ocean's 11. But if you were in Ocean's 11 with actual Sinatra and Martin and Sammy and Lawford, that's pretty cool. Norman Fell can claim that. Norman Fell's dead, and we're going to put him in heaven because we like Norman Fell. No, homophobe. That's right. His whole character, Stanley Roper, was a big homophobe. He's going to hell. Dead on this day in 2003, Frank Sheeran. You know who Frank Sheeran is? We'll put him in hell. He's going to hell. Frank Sheeran was immortalized a couple of years ago in the Scorsese film, The Irishman. De Niro played him. Frank Sheeran died on this day in 2003. Frank Sheeran, better known as The Irishman. Dead on this day in 2013, another guy who was known as The Irishman is literally his nickname. Dead on this day in 2013, Peter O'Toole. Great actor. Crazy man, like drunk, like probably 95% of his life. He was drunk. Peter O'Toole. Dead on this, but Peter O'Toole's going to hell because he has to. He did a lot of crazy stuff, but he wants to be in hell. Peter O'Toole has no tolerance for heaven. Dead on this day in 2016, we'll wrap it up with this. Bernard Fox. Who's Bernard Fox? I don't know. He's an actor. You'd recognize him. He's in a bunch of stuff if you watched movies in the 70s and 80s. But primarily, Bernard Fox gets a mention, and he goes to heaven. Why? Because he was Dr. Bombay. Remember Dr. Bombay from Bewitched? He was like my favorite character on Bewitched. Dr. Bombay was awesome. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Quarters 1, 2, and 3 are in the books. It's time now for us to move into quarter 4, which is, as everybody knows, a rundown of all the events that are helping us shape and understand what today is. Let's say a big hearty thank you to Mama Beller, who is today's executive producer on the show. The big tipper from the previous day's show becomes the executive producer for the next day. So if you want to support this kind of talk radio, just as Mama Beller did, drop a little something either in the Venmo or the Cash App, or I don't care, whatever, send a carrier pigeon. Appreciate you. All right, let's move into quarter 4. This is the big part of the show. We're going to run through all the events, all the headlines, the hot topics, things that people are talking about. And let me tell you, there's a bunch of it today. We start out with Israel because that's how we start every show now, Israel. Danish authorities, this is big breaking news concerning Hamas and the situation over there. Breaking. Danish authorities announced Thursday that they prevented a terror attack after 3 arrests in Denmark and a 4th in the Netherlands. The same thing, right? It's Wisconsin, Minnesota, right? Don't you think that when you think Denmark and the Netherlands, it's like, okay, whatever. Why are we overcomplicating it? It's just point to that part of the world and go, those people. Danish authorities said Thursday they prevented a terror attack after 3 arrests in Denmark and a 4th in the Netherlands. As Israel said, the suspects in Denmark were acting on behalf of Hamas. Also, the United States were warning us. They started with the big warnings today. Hamas has promised to attack Americans and citizens of the United Kingdom everywhere on the globe. So who knows what that means, but be prepared. So there you go. That's what's happening. Oh, by the way, as far as the war goes, yeah, it's still going on. Things are blowing up. People are hungry. People are dying. It's war. All right, moving on. Stocks. Here you go, folks. Hey, let's all talk about the stock market and how great everything is for a bunch of rich sons of bitches. The stock market doesn't mean anything to you and me. I mean, it does in a very small way. But really, when you are look, it's working because the stock market's worth. That just means rich people are getting rich. That's all it means. All the stock market means is rich people are getting richer. Remember, for us, and I don't care who you want to be. I don't care nobody listening to this stream. I got a good idea. The amount of people listening to this stream, not one of you are worth $100 million. Okay. You're all some of you are successful. I know that. And I appreciate that because you keep the show afloat. But you know what I'm saying? None of us are like living and dying by like, the stock market every day. So the stock market is like going really well. And again, we don't play the politics game, but be wary of anybody claiming credit for this stuff. Like Bidenomics, see, it's working. I'll tell you, Bidenomics may or may not be working. I don't know. I don't have a judgment on that. I'm not an economist. I'm not even going to pretend to be one. I won't read that shit. That stuff's boring. I'm not an economist, but here's what I do know. I do know that gas is really cheap now. I filled up for $2.48 the other day. That's how the working man gauges if the economy is doing well. Stop trying to shove these gross domestic product, Rant. The stock market has reached 40,000. Stop it with that bullshit. I don't care. Tell me about the price of gas. Tell me about the price of diapers. Tell me about the price of food. That's what matters to us. And you know why that matters to us? Because it's been really bad for a really long time. I would love to exist in a world where we could all sit back comfortably and go, well, that's good. Because in the grand existential view of our economy, the stock market needs to play a major role, but not in the micro. In the everyday, it's making your list for the grocery store and deciding what you can and cannot get. I don't give a fuck about the stock market. Stop it. Fix the way we, the people, are living our day-to-day lives. Protests are happening. Did you see this in LA? I like this. Oh my God, there was a big protest in LA. I don't know what the hell they're trying to look. I'm all for protesters. You know me. I love it. I love civil disobedience, especially if it gets the attention and shakes up the core. But there's got to be a point to it. Like I don't understand. I'm sorry. We're gonna watch some video here. They might make us watch a commercial. These sons of bitches, they're going to make us watch a commercial, aren't they? All right, maybe so. So I'll explain to you what I did. So here's the story. So a bunch of protesters shut down the 110. Here we go. Hold on, the commercial's ending. Oh. Hold on, guys. All right, now we can share it. The stupid Wanda Sykes commercial. You guys ever see this commercial? It's every pop-up for me on a specific site that I use. It's Wanda Sykes as the voice of a garbage disposal who's complaining. I don't even want to go into it. Anyway, this is what happened in Los Angeles yesterday. There's big protesters. They shut down. Let's call it the 110. I don't know Los Angeles highways.
Drivers that were there. We take a look. This was just about 15.
All right, so here's what happened. This is what we want to show. So these protesters, they want the Hamas war to end. Well, you know what? Get in line, kids. But there's better ways to make that, but you're not doing anything. They are not doing anything. All they're doing, you should have seen the line. We'll go back to the beginning. I'll let you see the line of cars. They shut down the freeway because they want Israel out of Hamas. Shutting down the freeway isn't going to affect that one way or another. All you're doing is pissing off your fellow citizens who will never now support your fucking cause because of this. See, that's the problem. That's the risk that you run. These people should not be angering those that they need to welcome into their ranks. They should be coddling them. They should be doing things that encourage them to join them and make this protest bigger. This is only going to ensure that anybody who is on the fence is going to see, fuck those protesters. They made me late for my dentist appointment. I got charged for it. They're just inconveniencing people. This is not about Israel. This is not about Hamas. For the people who are being inconvenienced. This is about their lives and their day. And these people creating havoc in any way. So what if you had to poop? What if you're in the car? You're like, God, I got to get home. I got to poop. I would go nuts. So a bunch of drivers got out of their cars and justifiably, in my opinion, they started beating the fuck out of these people. Get them the fuck off the road. I may even support their cause, but you know what? Not like this. I'm pissed at these people. This does not help the situation. All it does is draw people away from your cause. You are trying to grow your cause. You are trying to get people to listen to you. You're not trying to make them so angry with you that they will. All right, let's just watch it.
20 minutes ago, you can see here, this was before there was really any law enforcement officers down there, but it appears at least, two men there. It looked like they were fighting. I believe it was one protester, possibly one driver. where we don't know what kind of words were being exchanged, but it was pretty heated. That person being slammed down onto the ground there, and then that other participant walking away. So we can see very heated emotions.
Look at what it says there. Look at what it says on the crowd. It says, protesters call for ceasefire in Gaza. Okay. Hey, let me join you. Hi, Pugs Moran. I do a stream here on the radiomisfits.com platform. I'm here for a very important reason. I, Pugs Moran, High Noon Rant, am calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Okay, we good? Okay, thanks. There you go. See, I have no power. They have no power. This is about other governments getting their stuff, right? This is about Israel. Now, is there a way to sort of change the way people feel about Israel? Yes. This is not that way. This is not the way to do it. You're just pissing people off. You're just all right, moving on. That's it. And by the way, I'm a guy who from time to time would see on my ride home in Chicago some significant protest of some kind, usually Black Lives Matter. And I might just walk down to it and just hang out there and watch what's going on. So, I'm not against protests. And by the way, oh, look at Pugs. He's a member of Black Lives Matter. Maybe. I don't know. What's the issue? I don't know. Here's what I know. Here's what I know right here in the middle somewhere. I know I ain't MAGA, and I know I ain't Antifa. So both of those groups can go S and D as far as I'm concerned. I'm like in the middle. I'm like somewhere in the middle. A bunch of normal people, not a bunch of weirdos. All right, what else do we have? Oh, here to talk about a weirdo. God, this story irritates me. So the mayor of Boston is in trouble. You know why? The mayor of Boston is throwing a Christmas party for whites only. Now, hold on. That's the headline. The headline is Mayor of Boston bans white people from her Christmas party, holds whites only Christmas party. So that's the way it's being put out there. But when you actually read the story and like you understand what's actually being said without being said, that's not really what happened. Like what they're doing is they're ginning you up with the headphone or with the headline. What they want is they want you to react to the thought, the notion, the belief that the Asian lady mayor of Boston is who's married to a white guy, is somehow hates white people and is throwing parties and only inviting people of color. She's specifically uninviting. Here's the problem. Uninviting people, white people who were accidentally invited to the party. Okay, so that's the headline. That's the story. She told white people they couldn't come. Okay, so that's the story, the way it's being presented by a dishonest media. Now I'm going to give you the real story. Here's how it went. So there's a black caucus in the Boston City Council. These groups occur. You have the black caucus, you got the Asian caucus, you got all these things. There's a people of color group within the Boston City Council. And they throw every year they throw a holiday party. Now, the way they throw their holiday party is they anoint somebody to be the honored person. And the holiday party occurs in that person's place. Like, okay, so this year it's the mayor. So this people of color, they're like, oh, this year the mayor is going to be hosting our get together for the people of color caucus. The mayor's assistant sent out an invite to everyone in the council who wants to come by this Christmas party. Then the caucus of colored people said, no, this is like a really small thing. This is just like the 10 of us. We get together, we have some eggnog, and we discuss issues with the mayor that are important to this caucus. So remember, the mayor's assistant sent out the mass invitation to all the council members. It was then explained to the mayor that no, she's got to retract those emails. So what the mayor's assistant then had to do was go to all of the people who were not in the people of color caucus and say, sorry, this is a private event. At which point one guy went, they don't like white people, which, is a dishonest interpretation of this ham-fisted chain of events. They're having a private party. It's not like the mayor isn't allowing white people. Anyway, it's a funny story. Michelle Wu, Democrat mayor of Boston, defends her decision to host no whites holiday party for elected people of color after facing backlash. On Wednesday afternoon, just before the party, when asked if she believed the gathering was divisive, Wu responded with a firm no. It's not divisive, it's private. It's different. People Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, who faced several I mean, look, there's, you know, I don't know. I am troubled by the idea that it is a party based on, that it's a caucus based on skin color, but, you know, I'm a white guy. I probably don't have a full, healthy understanding of, you know, what it is to not be a white guy, and maybe that there is a need for that. I don't know. All I know is that it's kind of funny, and then it's not nearly as racist as it's being made to sound. Because remember, the job of the media is to gin us up. Just leave out, not lie, but leave out certain details that maybe provide a bit more of context. That's the job of the media. Tourette's. Did you see this? Chris Cuomo, who, like, I don't know, what's he doing? He's got a show exclusively on BlackBerry devices. I don't know where Chris Cuomo is somewhere. And he's making some news. He made some news yesterday because he this is funny. We'll watch this. It's not funny. Is it funny? It's funny. It's yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And you know what? Sometimes things make me laugh, and sometimes things make you laugh that maybe we're not proud of. So whatever. But this is kind of funny. Chris Cuomo is trending. He's making a whole bunch of headlines because he interviewed a girl. Apparently, she's a social media influencer. You know, that's like the kind of thing that I'm trying to do, I guess. She's a social media influencer, and she has Tourette's. She has Tourette syndrome. And so Chris Cuomo, on his new show, I believe exclusively on BlackBerry, Chris Cuomo sat down and had a conversation with her about what it's like having Tourette. I laughed because I don't have it. I don't know. That's a terrible way for me to phrase it. But I mean, she's a lovely girl. And I will say this. I know somebody with Tourette's, and it's not bad at all. It's not, it's a tic. It manifests as a tic. And it's like, what's that? He's like, I got Tourette's. Well, okay. Oh, really? Did you swear? No. That's only like 10% of the people swear. But if you had Tourette's, I'd want to be one of the swearers, because isn't that what makes it interesting? Well, this girl here is one of the swearers, but this girl also has some terrible tics. And, you know, she seems like a lovely young woman. She seems like a sweet little girl. So let's watch this. Chris Cuomo, and he starts to laugh because it is funny. Chris Cuomo talking to the girl with Tourette's here. This was from his exclusive show, now available on the BlackBerry service. Here it goes.
On, and what do you hope you can do by taking the risks that you take so people can understand what you're dealing with?
Oof. I'm sorry, do you mind repeating the question? Oof, fuck off.
What do you want people to learn?
I want people to learn that Tourette's is a neurological involuntary motor and vocal disorder. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. I don't tic 24/7, and there's a lot of little baby wings. Fuck off. Fuck you, Chris. There's a lot of things
that was interesting.
I wanted
to point out that, because that's another aspect of Tourette's that is lesser publicized, but is fascinating nonetheless. She just went into it. On occasion, people with Tourette's will begin speaking in a foreign accent. Like they will have an accent. Did you notice here? She went British there for a second. She went, here, well, I'll play it again for you. But that's not uncommon with people with Tourette's. All of a sudden, they'll just start speaking with like a French accent or a British accent or whatever. Here.
Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. I don't tic 24/7, and there's a lot of little baby wings. Fuck off.
Little
fuck
baby
you,
wings.
Chris. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. Like, people think
this poor kid,
that cussing is with everyone who has Tourette syndrome, but it's only in 10% of people with Tourette's.
And how has it been as you've gotten more
She's a beautiful girl.
famous? Do you believe that people are understanding better, or are they dopes like me who think you're acting?
I say it's the same. I think there's a lot more people that don't understand what Tourette's is, and they like to educate themselves more. So I get thousands of DMs from parents, from teachers, from girls that have been diagnosed with Tourette's and they've had to be kicked out of school for attention seeking because they rip up their homework or do things like that. I've had parents reach out to me asking me, oh, my son's coming home with a girlfriend and his girlfriend has Tourette's syndrome. So, and then I also get very evil people that would comment and say, like, go fuck yourself, Chris, lick your baby weenie, blam up your ass, butter your own biscuit, fat ass, that have told me that my parents deserve to die in a car accident.
Look, that's a reasonable
Go fuck yourself. Then I also get very evil people that would comment and say, like, go fuck yourself, Chris, lick your baby weenie, blam up your ass, butter your own biscuit, fat ass, that have told me.
She went British to like Southern, like really quickly. Oh, this poor girl. Well, you know, I mean, of all the handicaps, I mean, she can walk, she can climb stairs. She has all 5 senses. You know, she can see, she can hear. I don't know. It's terrible. It's terrible. No handicaps are good, but I think that this might be like the one that you'd be like, if I gotta have one, I don't know. I don't know. It's terrible.
That my parents deserved to die in a car accident because I'm faking my condition, or people have told me that, like, I've had to have the police at my house because people gave out my location and said they're going to come torch my house. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, why? Because they think she's faking because they're stupid? Because they're stupid people who don't understand that this is a real disease and that the brain, the neurological dysfunction that's happening here is something that we are only at the tip of understanding. But no, she's faking. And the 3-year-olds, you ever seen the videos of the little kids, the little toddlers with Tourette's? They're faking? Really? They've got a long game in mind at 4 years old? Stop it. Just because you don't know something, just because you're ignorant, and we're all ignorant about the way the brain works. We're all ignorant about the neurology that make us the people that we are. We are. Sorry. We won't be 200 years from now because that's really where this is going. Everybody's focusing on the brain and the mind and all that stuff. Fake. People telling her she's fake. Come on, man. That is ridiculous. All right, I'm going to stop sharing it. There we go. That was why Chris brought it. Ugh. Yeah. I mean, it's like a stutter. Stutter is another like neurological hiccup that people get. I mean, I'm a stutterer, but I'm more of a forced stutterer. I've had like, I stutter because my brain is just spinning too fast. Not smart. That's not like I'm saying I'm smart. What I'm saying is I have chaos of ideas. My brain is, there's like things constantly, but then you could do this. Oh, but then you can. So the way I speak is just simply trying to get as much expressed as possible. And it's not a good thing. So we'll move on. Anyway, Tourette's. Chris Cuomo had to talk with a girl with Tourette's. Sweet little girl. All right. Battle of Graceland. How about that? This is the Battle of Graceland has been decided. That's right. There's been a judgment. So here's the problem. Lisa Marie Presley died last year suddenly. Lisa Marie Presley was the sole beneficiary of Elvis Presley Global. You know, she was it. She was Elvis Presley's daughter. It all went to her. But she died. She died, and Elvis's wife is still here. Priscilla is still here. And Priscilla has been sort of overseeing. She's been acting as the executor. She's been drawing a salary. She has all of the, you know, she's basically like she's like a queen who is not considered an HR, right? Right. Oh God, no. Look, I just got into weird crown stuff. So an HR is a royal highness. You can be a queen without being a royal highness. You can just be like there's different like kinds of stuff. Anyway, in order to get the HR to, why are we talking about this? Anyway, my point is Priscilla was kind of the queen of Graceland, and the heir apparent, the Lisa Marie, she's gone. And so now Riley Keough, who is a 34-year-old actress who I've talked about before, I like her. She's Elvis's granddaughter. Riley Keough has been given everything that her mother had. Remember, Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, got everything from Elvis. Daddy gave everything to the daughter. The daughter died. The daughter left everything that her daddy left her to her daughter. That's how it works. So Riley Keough, the 34-year-old actress, the star of Daisy Jones and the Six on Amazon Prime, which is good miniseries. It's interesting if you like that stuff. She is now Queen Elvis. She is now in charge of everything. Priscilla didn't want that. Grandma, let's break it down family style. This is grandma and granddaughter. This is grandma and granddaughter going at it over grandpa's estate. Grandpa is Elvis. Grandma thinks that she should still be in charge of all of this stuff, and that Riley needs to just, grandbaby needs to go mind her own. Well, a judge has settled in this case, and for all the parties, they seem to be fine with it. This doesn't seem to be, you know what I think it is? I think it's maybe grandma and granddaughter are fine. This is just the stuff going on with the lawyers. But they're probably fine, it seems. So what's happened is the judge said that no, Riley Keough is Queen Elvis. Right? Riley Keough, the granddaughter of Elvis Presley, inherited all of the stuff from her mother. Her mother inherited all the stuff directly from the king of rock and roll. So it goes, we don't really need Priscilla anymore, because you see the granddaughter is a 34-year-old woman who has accountants and agents, and she's a movie star on her own, and she can do it. She's got it. Now, what did Priscilla get? Priscilla got a salary. She's got a salary for life. So Priscilla will be paid out of the Elvis Presley estate a salary for life. She is sort of executor emeritus, I believe is the title they gave her, which means that, it's really up to Riley. But if Priscilla steps on the property and tells a landscaper to cut a bush down, they better do it, because she's still got power. And Priscilla also, and this is a weird one. This is a weird one that made me think, wait, is this getting ugly? Because if this was something that was up for debate, then this is ugly in the family. This isn't just lawyers in another room arguing this out. One of the things that Priscilla retained was the right to be buried on the grounds of Graceland next to her daughter and next to Elvis, which if that was in contention, like if it was like, yeah, and you're not going to be buried next to my mom and my grandpa. If that was in contention, then it was ugly. But it seems like that was settled and everybody seems to be happy. So there you go. The battle for Graceland is over. Riley Keough is now Queen Elvis, in charge of everything. Oh, God. That's great. It's a family business. That's what it is. It's a family business. It's a family business. They say estimated does $250 million a year. $250 million a year. The Elvis Presley business still churns out every year. Every single year. Dude's been dead since 1977. Amazing. Let's see. And who's going to experience this? The McCartney kids. The McCartney kids and the Lennon kids and the Harrison kids. And because that's going to be a deal for them as well. Natalie Portman is trending today. Natalie Portman is getting a divorce. How do we feel about this? I feel pretty good. Who would screw up so bad that you blow it with Natalie Portman? Excuse me. It's like Natalie. Here's the three for me. Natalie Portman, Scarlett Johansson, and who's the one that's with Ashton Kutcher? I always forget her name because it's like an exotic name. I don't know. I can't think of her name. Those three women to me seem to be like so across the board cool, and like they check every box. You screw it up with one of them, oh my God, just kill yourself. The dude that's getting divorced from Portman, what's his name? Jason Millipied. They've been married for 11 years. They have 2 kids, and Natalie found out that he's cheating on her. He's cheating on Natalie Portman. First of all, he's like a dork. He's not, and this is what you would expect from Natalie Portman. I don't think Natalie Portman's going to be with Thor. I don't care that she's Thor's girlfriend in the Thor movies, right? Isn't that who she is? She's Dr. Jane, whatever. Anyway, she's not into that kind of guy. She's with like a nerdy dude. He's like nerdy and got glasses, and he's cheating on her. He's cheating on her. Natalie Portman and husband separate after his humiliating affair with a 25-year-old girl. See, this just goes to show you, it's not about what you have. It's about having more. It's about greed. It's not about, oh, I don't love what I have laying in bed next to me now. I'm just greedy for more. That's what it's about. Natalie Portman has reportedly called it quits with her husband, Benjamin Millepied, after affair rumors rose in June. Who does he look like? He's not, he's not an unattractive man, but he's not like, he's not like a buff movie star looking dude. Here we go. Natalie Portman and husband had been working to repair their marriage. However, it has been confirmed to Us Weekly that the Black Swan actress has separated from her husband of 11 years. Source claimed to the outfit that after news of his affair came out, they've been trying to work on I'm looking at pictures of the two of them together. She's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman, and he's a dork. And whatever, he's probably got like $1 billion, and that's why they met in the first place. He didn't just pick her up at Hooters. She wasn't working a shift. No. Draymond Green is trending. Draymond Green has been indefinitely suspended by the NBA for the actions that he took. Was this 2 nights ago? I don't know. It was going around yesterday. Again, it's Anthony Mason's birthday, and I saw what Draymond did. Look to me like run-of-the-mill 1994 basketball. The NBA has suspended Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green indefinitely. The league announced Wednesday this following the latest in a series of in-game incidents. In Tuesday's game against the Suns, Green flailed while trying to draw a foul and spun in a circle, striking Suns center Jusuf Nurkic in the face. He was ejected from the contest. So indefinite suspension for this. It looked pretty bad, but we exist in the era of the flop. So, it's always going to look even worse because, the victim is like, oh my goodness. It's that whole thing. The least masculine thing around, but okay, whatever. It was just go to YouTube and pull up Bill Laimbeer highlights. Just do that. It's like that guy played a 15-year career in the NFL. He was probably never suspended. Should have been. There was a point in his career where he had to play. Bill Laimbeer had to wear a mask. Remember there were players who used to, maybe they still do. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. They wear the plastic masks if they've had like an orbital fracture or something. That was because after about 5 years of Bill Laimbeer being Bill Laimbeer, everybody in the league just started throwing elbows back at him. He had like multiple face fractures. It was all what comes around goes around. Yeah, you were scary when you were 25, but now 31-year-old Bill Laimbeer can't get out of the way from a Bill Cartwright elbow, can you? Bitch. Anyway, that's the way the game was played back then. Blood on the court. That's why we used to get so angry when someone would go near Michael. How dare you? Let him do whatever he does. Natalie Portman's getting a divorce. Draymond Green has been suspended indefinitely from the NBA. He'll be back. It's, whatever. They'll work it out. I can't imagine that. But here is the big, interesting NBA story that's going on today. Did you see what happened last night? This is with the Milwaukee Bucks. Love it. So here, let me pull it. I want to make sure we get this. There's a couple of different things here. So this is Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is, very difficult, but he's a superstar. So we go the extra effort to learn how to pronounce his name. Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks had a historic game last night. Let me see if we'll pull this up. Are they going to make us listen to another Wanda Sykes commercial? They are. We're going to have to fill. Hold on. Just a second here. While this is stupid, it's not a long one. Here we go. We're going to see this now. So this is Giannis Antetokounmpo had a record game, 65 points. I know it's a Milwaukee Bucks record. I think it's a career high for him. It was a really big game. Hey, isn't he great? He sure is. He had a super big game last night. And so here's the story. So the game ends, and for obvious reasons, he wants that ball. It's a game ball. It's a historic ball. It's a ball that he used to score more points in a game than any Milwaukee Buck had ever scored before. It's his career high to the point right now. It's a good game. He wants the ball. These things mean stuff to these players. So for some reason, look, there are two things going on here. What the Pacers did was incredibly petty, but also pretty funny. Pretty funny. So the Pacers, realizing that Antetokounmpo is going to want to keep this ball, they stole the ball from him. And after the game, apparently the whistle blows. Some dudes, the Pacers walked off the court without ever shaking hands because that's a thing that's done now. So the Pacers, they stole the ball. They took the ball back in the locker room. And at the end of the game, Antetokounmpo is walking around going, where's the ball? Where's the ball? I want the ball. I want the ball. And there's like a big, he runs. We're going to watch it. So this is what's going on. They won't give Giannis Antetokounmpo the ball that he wants. And he went a little nuts. Now, there's a couple of videos here because one has the audio. We'll listen to the audio of the Pacers player after we play this. But interesting. And there he goes. Good game for the. He's a stud. Whew. So there's the ball.
To the heart and the chest. Because this took a little extra
He's
to
trying
win
to get
this
the ball.
tonight.
They won't give him the ball.
Something's going on in the corner over here.
Game is over.
Pacers, if there is Giannis.
Giannis going to the locker room.
Going into the locker room.
So Giannis is now running into the Pacers locker room to demand the ball that they are not giving. They're playing keep away from Giannis, which is, again, as I said, let me be clear about this, incredibly petty, totally unnecessary. Also, pretty hysterical.
Ruin a great evening.
No.
With some
the announcer. You don't want to ruin a great evening.
Giannis going to the locker room.
Going into the locker room.
Don't ruin.
You don't want to ruin a great evening? Ruin, you dummy. This is making the great evening better. This is making the great evening even more memorable. In 10 years, people aren't going to remember the game he scored 65. They'll just remember that he did. You know why they'll remember the game he scored 65? Because this happened after it. Shut your mouth, you stupid old school broadcaster.
Ruin a great evening.
No. Going into.
It's like the people who left the Siegfried and Roy show where the tiger ate Roy or Siegfried, whoever the people who left it went, that show was terrible. No, it wasn't. It was the greatest show you've ever seen. You should want to pay double, not get your money back. You saw the show where the tiger ate the guy. They've done 1,000 shows, 99. They've done 1 million shows and 99.9 thousand of them have gone off without a hitch. You're at the one where the tiger ate the guy, and you think that's a disappointment?
Don't ruin a great evening.
No.
With some nonsense.
Nonsense. Old dudes are always troubled by nonsense. That's all mine, if I'm being honest. But I'm an old dude.
The drama continues. I thought we were done.
The Pacers just left the court without shaking hands with the Bucks. And
there was something going on with Halliburton. I saw Chris Middleton talking to him. Giannis ran over. The Nassers came and got Giannis, had to kind of pull him back. And then Giannis, somebody said something from the tunnel. It appeared. And then Giannis sprinted in the tunnel toward the Pacers locker room. So Lloyd Pierce trying to assuage the emotions.
Give him the ball. Just give him the ball. Now, how long does this go on? Here, let's see. Oh, here he comes. So here comes Giannis now.
And Giannis comes back out of the tunnel.
He doesn't have the ball.
I heard it may have something to do with the game ball.
Yeah.
Giannis wants the game ball. And I think the coach for the assistant coach for the Pacers maybe make sure he's going to get it.
Ooh, that's a big angry man right there. Whew. You want to know what a big angry man that is right there? All of those men he is yelling at are big angry men themselves. These are all big men, and that's just how much bigger he is.
This is not how we thought that this night was going to end.
Well, here, the security guard Danny, the coaching staff need to be out here and get Giannis off the floor. This is just, too much extracurricular stuff going on with the potential for it to escalate into something else. There you go. I mean, he likes to give praise and tribute these kinds of moments to his father, Charles.
All right, there you go. Anyway, that's funny. But now we've got more. We've got audio. So here, this is audio of the Pacers actually saying, "Don't give him the ball. Hide it. Don't give it to him." I mean, it's. Oh, this one's a little loud. Okay, let's bring this down. All right. So, too big. That's too big. All right, here. Now, this is the sound. So let's listen to the audio. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Okay. All right. So now these are the yells coming from inside the Pacers locker room. Is that Buddy Hield? Buddy Hield, keep that ball. Keep that ball. So Buddy Hield doesn't want the ball to be given back to him. So let's keep listening. Keep that ball. Keep it. Pacers player, you're not getting that ball. What a petty. All right, so now there's a Bucks player going, give him the fucking ball, and then there's Pacers players going, no, don't give him the ball. What? Why? What's this dick move? This is such an infantile, dickish thing to do. This is so not classy. I'll tell you, this is not classy.
Giannis wants the game ball. I think the coach for this.
Go get the fucking ball is what he's saying. I just want you to get. Go get it. All right, there you have it. Anyway, that's a bunch of young 20-something millionaires being jagbags to each other. Did you hear the story about the Florida Joker Man? You know, the Florida Joker Man. This is a guy. He's, well, I'm sure James Parker, my 9 p.m. Radio Misfits co-host, he does the Florida Stories podcast. Check it out. He does an incredible job of chronicling all of the, well, mostly downs. I was going to say ups and downs of the citizens of the state of Florida, but they're mostly the downs. Florida Stories with James Parker. You can find that anywhere. Check it out. I highly recommend it. I don't know that he's covered the story of the Florida Joker Man or the Miami Joker, but here, let's show you this guy because he's in the news. Oh, God, pop-ups. Jeez. Well, look, you know what? I shouldn't complain about pop-ups because I get this news for free. I don't subscribe to, I understand. I get it. So I'm not going to complain about pop-ups anymore. All right. So here, this is Florida Joker Man. Boom. Look at him. He made the news. He, I don't know what he was doing. Probably something meth related, I'm guessing. But he made the news and his mugshot went viral because he's Florida Joker Man. Now, apparently Grand Theft Auto has a new game coming out. You can tell I'm not a nerd because, well, my son is extraordinarily excited. All he wants to talk about is when is GTA 6 coming out. Yeah, whatever. You got to have enthusiasms in life, as Al Capone once said. So this guy saw a trailer for the new GTX or Grand Theft Auto 6 game. He saw a trailer for it. And he noticed that there's a character in the video that looks just like him. So now let's look at the character. And he's saying because he attained some fame as Florida Man years back. There you go. All right, so he's saying that they are specifically using his image and his likeness to promote their video gaming product, and he wants money for it because the character in the game, in his opinion, is completely based on him, well-known Florida Joker Man. That's what is, and I got to be honest with you, I might have a case. He might, in fact, have a case because he is known as the Florida Joker. He's the Florida Man Joker. That's what he was known as. That's why he went viral. That's why you've seen his face before. It's not the first time you're seeing it. And Grand Theft Auto is, of course, based in Miami in South Florida. And this guy lives in Florida and in Miami specifically. He's a Miami guy. He's a Miami Joker face. So anyway, there is on the left is the real guy. On the right is on the left is the real guy's viral photo of his mugshot, right? That's what the world came to know the Florida Joker as from that mugshot picture right there on the left. On the right is the character in the new GTA Grand Theft Auto. He's in prison orange. Again, that seems a little, not that someone with tattoos like this wouldn't probably be in prison. I get that. But I don't know, man. I'm telling you, and not taking side, not going, yeah, he should. No, I'm just saying he might have a case here. He may, in fact, have a case. or at the very least, they'll settle. Because do you know how much money GTA is going to make? They might just want to get this over with. They're like, all right, what'll it take, tattoo face? All right, dummy, what'll it take? We'll give you, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 20 grand and 200,000 Marlboro miles. How about that? You good with that, joker face idiot? What else do we have here? There's a new study out that says that way more people in 2023, young couples, 33% of couples, that's 33, that is 1/3 of couples. 1/3 of couples say that they are now in 2023 open to the idea of an open marriage. Whoa! Look at the world, or open relationship is actually how this is. This is the world coming around to me. Look at me. I was ahead of my time. I always said, I don't give a crap. I don't really. My girlfriend, she wants to cheat on me. If she wants to cheat on me, it's not cheating on me. We don't own each other. If she wants to go get sexually fulfilled from somebody else because I'm not doing it, or she just wants some strange, I get that. That's fine. So I never understood the sexual possession thing. I own them. Now, what you should hope for is that you're in a relationship that's strong enough where both of you don't want other things. But the mere wanting of something strange is new isn't a betrayal on any kind of level to the woman you're with, unless that's the betrayal that you two have hammered out. I just don't think that's legitimate, because I know for a fact that you can be crazy in love with an individual and still want to bang the snot out of that chick you saw or whatever. That's fine. And at that point, I believe sex is just an act. It's gratification. Sex can be more. And when it becomes more, that's a different conversation. But at the dating level and if you're in a relationship where you've got like all of these things that you're connecting on, you love this person, they make you laugh, you enjoy spending time with them, and that's the most important thing in a relationship, not about sexual monogamy. The most important thing in a relationship is, can you just sit next to this person for 4 hours every night and not be miserable? So if you've got somebody who you can do that with, and that's a very rare thing to try and find. If you've got somebody and you can do that with them, and they want to go get some dick, like, really? You want to? All right, whatever. You gonna come home? Yeah. You take a shower though before you climb into bed. See, I don't have all these weird hangups. It's not about property. I understand that's strange, but I've always felt this way. I've never cheated. I've never cheated on anybody. I've been cheated on, not horribly, but see, this kind of thing, this eliminates the with a lot of guys, a lot of dumb guys, excuse me, sorry, don't mean to be talking about 99.9% of you, because 99.9% of you feel this way. 99% of you feel like you need to take some kind of violent action if your girlfriend is cheating on you or something like that. That's absurd. That's a whole bunch of weird emotions that are going on that you're improperly processing. You can handle that in a much different way if you just understood why your emotions are making you feel that way. But we don't, because nobody believes that they need any help. But no, just go ahead and punch that stranger in the parking lot because you heard he was talking to your wife at work. Go ahead, do that because you're well-rounded. Anyway, study finds 33%, surprising number of men and women are open to multiple partners. So much for monogamy. A new study by researchers revealed that 1/3 of men and 1 in 10 women are open to having more than one romantic partner at a time while still being in a committed relationship. Yeah, you can be committed. You can be committed on everything. Sexual, your sexual fidelity is a different whole thing. And again, I'm not saying that this is a relationship that I would be in. I'm saying I understand it and I'm comfortable with it. If we can come to that kind of agreement, look, if I'm with a woman who's very sexual and she likes to have sex, I don't want to have sex, and some dude she wants to have sex with, and he's a big dummy and there's no connection there. Things are more important than well, I was just going to say, there are things that are more important than just simply sticking it in and moving it around. I've always said that I would consider it a greater emotional violation to see a woman that I am with holding hands under a table discreetly or walking down the street with somebody else than hearing that she's sleeping with some guy. Because the holding hands is a more intimate gesture. The sleeping with some guy, the sticking it in, that is a means to an end. And the end is the orgasm. That's just something, I just want to feel good. Okay, let's do this. I want to feel good. But the holding of hands, there is no payoff to that other than some kind of emotional attachment. That's why that's, to me, a far greater intimacy violation than just banging for orgasm. That's all that's about. I want to feel good. He ain't leaving his wife for you. He just wants to feel good. She ain't, sorry, pool boy. She ain't leaving her husband for your 18-year-old ass. She just wants to feel good. It's just about getting to the orgasm. Anyway, young people sort of have this same view on relationships are not necessarily property and all that kind of stuff. You're my woman. I'm your woman. Yeah, that whole thing, whatever. If that works for you and you guys are comfortable with it, great. Just don't project that onto everybody else and then act like other people are doing it wrong when they find a situation that works for them. That's just what I think. I'm not in a relationship. I'm not looking for a relationship. Although I have been on a couple of dates lately. Yeah, I ain't talking about it. Maybe I will. I have a little friend that I meet at the comedy clubs. First time I've mentioned that. All right, let's keep going. What do we have here? 10 best places to retire. I don't want to do that, right? That's a stupid one. We're almost out of content today. We do have one more thing, though. Speaking of crazy relationships. So I wanted to end on this because I love this. I think... So my friend, my dear friend and former radio partner, Kelly Moore, she's like, I actually, my friend Brandon is like this too. They're obsessed with these Real Housewives shows. You know, most women are. Now I know that like Barney's hearing this and Byron's hearing this and they go, what? That? No, dude, you got to understand this is really big. Your women are all into it. You don't have to be, whatever. But I will say this. Years ago, I got sucked into it. Oh yeah, man. I got sucked in. I don't know. My son's mom, she's really into that stuff, as all women in America are. She's really into that stuff. And so I just started watching because, you got to let them watch something every once in a while. Something that I've learned. You can't just pick TV all the time. They got to have something else. So we would watch that, and I got into it. I got sucked into it. I would get sucked into it. I binge watched a bunch of seasons. I haven't watched any of them in 10 years, but back in that first run of it, I get it. I understand it. I know the attraction. I want to not be interested in it, but it is a car crash, and you have to watch it because you can't believe. Now, it's changed a lot because, there is an act. There's always been some bit of an act to it, to the reality genre, but now it's all completely scripted. Which is why this next little thing we're going to watch is really interesting. One of the women that I remember from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is one of the franchises of the Real Housewives series, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know, for some reason I like that. I like the Real Housewives of New York. I watched a couple of seasons of that. I remember Countess Luella or whatever. I liked her. That's also where we got this Bethany Frankel skinny girl margarita from. Yeah, how about that empire, huh? People see that in the stores. That's like quickly becoming like, a major American brand. Skinny girl. Started on the Real Housewives of New York. That's what they built that shit into. So anyway. So I'm familiar. But one of the people, for some reason, the Real Housewives of Atlanta seemed to me to be just, in a sea of really bad people, these were the high waves, right? These were the waves that you wanted to surf because these were some of the worst people I've ever seen on TV, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And one that stuck out to me was the one that I hated more than anybody else I had absolutely zero respect for this person. This is gross. She is gross. She makes me want to vomit. She's just so sick. And that is a woman by the name of Kim Zolciak. I don't even know how to say her name. She's incredibly stupid. Like, she's an incredibly stupid person who understands that being perceived as stupid is bad. So she overcompensates by trying to be smart. So she uses words and mispronounces them. But, that's her. I remember she used to chain smoke while getting her makeup done. And it was just really gross to me. And I'm like, this woman is a pig. This woman is an absolute, she is shallow, she is mean, she is just absolutely worthless. And then during the season, she started dating a guy I knew, a football player for the Atlanta Falcons, Croy Bierman. He wasn't particularly good, but I knew him as a football player. He wasn't a good football player. He's a football player. He made it to the pros and he had a career and he played with a number of teams. So I'm not saying anything other than what I'm saying. He has no Pro Bowls. How about that? We'll put it that way. He was never a highly sought after free agent. He's just a dude who played in the league for 10 years. He had a couple of moments and, but we don't remember him as anything great. Anyway, he suddenly became a major player in this Real Housewives of Atlanta because he ended up in a relationship with this Kim Zolciak. Apparently they've been together now for years and years. They got their own spin-off series. She had her own spin. She broke out so big from the Real Housewives of Atlanta that Bravo gave her own series, right? Wasn't she in that Don't Be Tardy series? Because she had a stupid song called Don't Be Tardy for the Party that apparently became a hit like 10 years ago for a brief moment. And then they gave her a spinoff. Anyway, so it was all about these two. Well, Croy Bierman, NFL player, and Kim Zolciak, his Real Housewife girlfriend. Well, anything you've ever seen between the two of them on Bravo is absolute bullshit. It is total bullshit. It is for the cameras. It's all, all of that stuff is staged. Okay, when I come in, I'm going to say that dress makes you look fat, okay? I don't really think so, but you can yell at me then. And that's what those shows are. And we don't care. We suspend the disbelief because it's fun. What I'm about to show you here is raw police cam video released by the police down there in whatever county, Georgia. It was a domestic violence call to the home of Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman. It was released yesterday. They're going through an ugly divorce because what a surprise. These two awful people couldn't make it work. So let's watch for the very first time a very real look. This is not a Bravo heavily edited reality series. Let's take a real look at what that relationship must be like, okay, when the cameras aren't running. So here you go. There's a couple of different versions. It's there it is. Okay, I want to make sure we have this. Let's just watch it. And like I said, the show's just about, I don't have any other content. This, and I'll stop it and we'll comment and we'll watch somebody's train wreck unfurl, huh? Here we go. Okay, so this is, again, Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kim Zolciak and her husband, Croy Bierman. Wait a second. Is this the one? Okay, I think this is the one. All right, let's see. Oh my God, you guys. You know what? How crazy is this? There's like multiple videos. Hold on, guys. I might have the wrong video here. I might have a better one. Give me a second here. Because I just want to watch the raw cam and police video. There we go. All right, where's the one that was released yesterday? Oh my God, there's one that goes on for 2.5 hours. Good Lord. All right, we'll do this one. Yeah, new. Okay, so this one was just posted yesterday. I haven't. Oh, this is the one. Okay, so this is raw police body cam. So here's what's happening. They're going through a divorce. The police are called to their mansion. By the way, it should be pointed out, this mansion, this is a mansion. This is like a 10, 15, $20 million home that they're at. Neither of these two have that kind of money. They've never had the kind of money. He was not that level of pro football player that he could live in a home like this. These are two idiots who are so far beyond their means. And so there's some stresses in the marriage because you got to keep up, appearances. And she's Kim Zolciak and money isn't a thing for him. And he's a football player. So they're having fights and the police are showing up. Let's watch this. Raw police body cam. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of some of these things. Yeah, we'll get rid of some of these things. We'll see if we can make it a little bigger. Will this make it bigger? No. I guess that's about as big as we can make it. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this. Raw police body cam. Croy Bierman's epic meltdown as he accuses Kim Zolciak of allegedly sleeping with other men. Oh, and blowing all their money. So this is the cop running. Let's watch.
Hey, police. Come here, Mr. Bierman. Bierman, come talk to me. What's going on?
It's just a bunch of nonsense.
All right, come talk to me. Ma'am, stay right there. What's going on tonight?
We're just having an argument
About what?
about our fucking life.
Okay, what happened? Why,
It's our life. It's destroyed.
Okay, what started the argument?
Her inability to fucking solve problems.
Okay,
Or
come
address
on
them or
back.
do anything.
Okay, let me just having a little familiarity with Kim Zolciak. I get his frustration here. Her inability to solve problems is a kind of a, I don't know, not the way I'd have said it. She's a fucking idiot is the way I'd have said. She's a complete fucking idiot. I mean, I don't know how he's been with her for 11 years. I have such a low opinion of him. Remember, I told you before they hooked up, I watched her on the show and she made me gag. I thought she was such a repulsive representation of a female that it just made me sick to my stomach. And when it turned out that he was with her, I was like, what is wrong with him? This freaking idiot. Anyway, here he is after 11 years going, I don't know, you ever seen her on TV? She's kind of an awful moron.
Come over here.
Why?
Because I want to talk to you away from her. I don't want her to start screaming at you and have
I like this
a whole
cop.
argument.
It's nothing but an act. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
What is?
Everything she does.
Okay, what did she do tonight?
Everything. Everything, dude. I can't. I'm not going to do this. Because this right here does nothing but fuel her bullshit. I'm not doing this.
All right, see, now you see what he's complaining about? He's complaining about, look, I'm not going to get into a thing with you as a cop because this is like her whole life. It'll go viral and it'll just make her more famous. I can't do this. In the meantime, he's actually doing it. But you understand his frustration. He's a dude from Montana. He's like from serious rural Montana. And all of a sudden, he's like associated with the Real Housewives thing and this awful monster of a woman. And not just associated, been married to her for 11 years.
This is narcissistic behavior. I'm not doing this.
I'm just trying to figure out what the
There's
argument
nothing to do. You shouldn't even be here. Who called you?
Your kids.
Who? What kid?
You have kids? I don't know. Whoever's in the house. So
We've been outside this whole time.
What was the argument about?
Our life. Our life.
Okay,
And it's
so
fucking destroyed.
Why is it?
All right, so now this is where he starts to spill the shit that you will never hear on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is where he starts to rant about all of the truly humiliating stuff. Look, all the stuff that they do that's humiliating on these shows, it's never about, it's always just about their behavior. It's not about the fraudulent lifestyle that they're leading. And right now we're gonna get here. Croy's about to go off with this cop. We're about to hear some pretty real stuff about this Real Housewives nonsense.
Getting so heated.
What the whole time?
What was the argument about?
Our life. Our life.
Okay,
And it's
so
fucking destroyed.
Why is it getting so heated?
Because our life is destroyed. What don't you understand? There's no money. There's no house. We're getting divorced one day and we're not the next.
Okay.
She's fucking other men. What do you want?
Jesus.
Calm down.
Calm down, but I don't have a fucking life. And I don't have somebody who won't fucking listen to me.
Calm down.
Oh, calm down. You want to live this motherfucker?
Look,
you wouldn't have lasted
calm
for
down.
a year.
You wouldn't have lasted.
You wouldn't have lasted a day in this fucking house.
You want to live with this motherfucker? You wouldn't have lasted a year. You wouldn't have lasted a day in this fucking house. This guy has been through it, man. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him because he strikes me, and he has always struck me as a bit of a rube, as a bit of just a really nice salt of the earth, not broken by the crazy big city bullshit of a Real Housewives type franchise. He's just a good salt of the earth. I mean, listen to the way he talks. He's even got that upper Minnesota, North Dakota. He's got that kind of way of talking that just makes him sound like good people. He's just a big dummy. He's just a big dummy who got lured by a hot chick in the big city. He's from like rural Montana. He gets drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. All of a sudden, he's got a lot of money in his pocket and he's living in a really cool place. He doesn't know what this is. He meets some hot chick that's on TV and she likes him. He goes for it. 11 years later, he's like, you wouldn't last a day in this house. That's the circle. I feel bad for this dude. All right, it continues. We're watching Former NFL player, linebacker, Atlanta Falcons, Buffalo Bills. Who else did he play for? I don't know, somebody else. Croy Bierman, fighting with his wife, released by police yesterday.
What's going on, Mr. Bierman?
All right, here's Kim now, this idiot.
He's just been screaming at me for like 2 hours, like a crazy person.
Okay. What was the argument? Why were y'all arguing?
Because I just said,
Why is he
I just
screaming?
want to get a divorce. Like, I just want this to be over. He wouldn't let me leave this morning. The gate, like, is broke or whatever, so you have to, like, manually open it. He jumped in front of my car. I have all these videos. Like, he's blocking me from leaving. He just started yelling. I said, Corey, I have a phone call at 5:30. I can't do this right now. I'm sorry, like, my nose is running.
It's fine.
And then I left. I finally got out of the gate, and I was walking in my robe down the street. And I was, like, yelling for help to my neighbors, like, please, somebody help me. He's screaming in my ear, grabbing my robe, like the back hoodie of my robe, and I mentally, like, and physically, emotionally could not take this any longer. My kids.
Okay, I don't want to go back, but did she mention the gate? Because that's a very telling thing about their situation. There is, maybe she already said it, or maybe it's coming up, but there is a discussion about their private gate. They've got a private gate in their driveway that opens and closes automatically. Except somebody explained at some point in this video that the private gate is broken, and it's been broken forever, and we need to get it fixed, but we can't afford to get it fixed, so we have to open it by hand. You know that's wildly embarrassing for them, that they can't even afford to get their private security gate fixed, and that she has to drag her ass out. At some point here, they discussed that, but I'm like, man, I bet they really are broke. I bet they're turning off the cable broke, because if you can't afford to just get your security gate fixed, that's got to be like maybe, a couple $100, maybe $1,000 tops. You can afford that. You shouldn't be living this Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Did you see this house? My God, how underwater in this house do you think they are? They can't afford this house. Wait till they go inside.
If I can, like, walk in, he kicks the kids out, and then if I come outside, he's like, get inside the house. My son's like, Mom, please take me to my friend.
Mm-hmm.
His dad said, no, you're not going anywhere, and so he's crying right now. It's just too much. He's fucking mentally ill, like, for real. Like, for real.
Are you hurt in any way?
No, I just in my ear, just screaming like a crazy person for hours.
So around 11 a.m.
What is he doing?
He's talking to an officer.
Oh, he's yelling something.
Yeah, okay, so now there is a second officer now who is on the scene, and this officer is in the house with Croy, while this officer's in the driveway talking to Kim, and you can hear Croy screaming at the other officer. Now, this officer is going to be like, oh shit, I better get over there, because let's not forget, he's a former pro football player. He's a big dude, probably very athletic. He could probably whip some ass if he needed to, and you might need a couple of cops there to calm this guy down. So this guy's now going to start
I'm around
running.
the corner in the driveway.
Let's see if we can hear him screaming.
Stay right there.
Look at this house. This is just the driveway area. There's a tunnel. All right, here we go. Now they're going inside. There's some screaming happening. Okay, can we talk about this Saddam palace that we're about to see? This is not like.
No, she's here.
Look at that staircase.
Sir, I did not give you authorization to be in my home. You're going to get put, Corey. Listen to me very clearly. I did not give you authorization. I know my rights.
All right, so now this is where we all get dumb. I watch a lot of these YouTube videos. Shut up. You don't know your rights. I don't know my rights either. I know basic rights, but this is not. He's telling these cops they need to get out of their house, his house, because they do not have a warrant to enter the home. Okay? So he's screaming, I know my rights, I know my rights. Well, he's completely fucking wrong here. These cops are responding to a 911 call that came from a child inside the house. That's what they said in the driveway. Your kid called us. The cops don't need his permission to come inside when a child in the home has called 911 saying there's a problem. These cops, their job now is to make sure that that child who called is safe and that there isn't a problem. So this guy, Coy Bierman, is right. Cops cannot just show up at your house and walk in. These cops didn't just show up at the house. They were called via 911 by a minor in the house saying that there's something going on. So he's wrong here. But you see all these constitutional experts on Twitter or wherever We see it a lot in these traffic stops where people are like, well, we're gonna check your car. We're gonna check your car for drugs. You can't check my car. You need a warrant. And then the cop goes, it smells like weed. That's called probable cause. I no longer need a wallet. Or a warrant. People don't understand their rights. They think they know their rights because they watch one YouTube video from some guy who's like, here's what you do. And
am I right? Okay, then stop talking if you know your rights. I'm going to tell you your rights. I'm going to inform you of your rights. We're here for a lawful reason. To investigate a domestic violence situation.
Yeah, see?
Where the person is outside. Your kids are the ones that called.
Domestic violence, you don't need a warrant to go in. You just go in.
I need to talk to
Then
them.
I can bring them outside, but you do not have the authority to be in my home.
You're going to go stand outside
You
with
do
them.
not have the authority to be in my home.
You're going to go with them. All right, come on, bro.
I was not clear what was going on. Now I am. Come on, let's go. We're going to need stuff outside.
No, I'm not going to leave him with my children.
Okay. Well, my officers, they got body cams on.
All right, now they're blacking out one of the kids. But okay, there you have it. That's the most real you will ever see a Real Housewife. That's I don't feel sorry for her. I have seen her. I've seen the way she behaves. I've seen the way she is vain. She is shallow. She is petty. She is judgmental, and she is mean. These are all of the characteristics that I think, and she's gross. She's just gross. She thinks she's charming and sweet and beautiful, and she's really just trying way too hard. She looks like a stripper. That's her idea of beauty, is to just present at all times like a stripper. And that is sort of the look that I think bedazzled this Croy Bierman dupe from the middle of nowhere, Montana. Hey, look at them big old titties on that pretty blonde girl from Atlanta. I mean, he fell in love with that. Ugh. Now they got this. My favorite thing is, you wouldn't last one day in this house. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite line, because it's got to be nuts. I'll tell you, I do know a little. There's my fandom of the, my Chicago White Sox fandom. I don't know. You can't really see any in the camera. But I do have some additional knowledge about this family. Because one of my team's great young pitchers, Michael Kopech, was married to Kim Zolciak's daughter, Brielle or something. I don't know if you guys watch this show. If you guys watch Real Housewives, you know that she's got like a super hot daughter. Like, her daughter's really hot. And Michael Kopech, pitcher for the White Sox, they started dating when I guess they were in college or something. And so they got married and they had a baby together. And then Kim Zolciak's daughter started cheating on Michael Kopech. And now they're divorced. He had a shit season because, he was in a custody battle for his kid. These Zolciak women suck, is my point. Feel bad for Croy Bierman. And I also didn't like how she just threw out to the cop while the cop was doing his initial investigation. She threw out the line, I think he's mentally ill. Why? So now you got that on camera. So now that somebody doing due diligence in this case is now going to file that, and now we're going to have him go see a psychiatrist because she made this offhanded charge. That's a big charge. When you say that during the course of a police officer's investigation, when you're accusing somebody else, you say they're mentally ill, the cop has to write that down as some kind of evidence from a person who has witnessed this behavior personally. It's considered they got to look into that. So now it's like, well, is he okay? Okay, she said he's mentally ill. So now we got to call an ambulance. And now we got to let a paramedic decide whether or not this guy needs to be involuntarily, because she says he's raging and out of control. I saw a guy who was raging. I saw a guy who was upset. I didn't see a guy who was out of control. I saw a guy who was just done and just pissed. He was in control enough to know what to and what not to say. He knew where the line was with the police officers. He never got aggressive. There was never any moment where, Big Croy Bierman appears in that video to be menacing towards the police officers. So he wasn't out of control. He was fine. He's just pissed at his wife and done with it. And, a lot of us can kind of understand that. Adam says, I feel bad for their kids. Not me, at least not the daughter, Brielle, not Brielle Bierman. She sucks. I don't feel bad for her at all. She's awful. Like, she's just what she did to Michael Kopech. Oh my God. And not for nothing, but I know she's attractive, but have you ever seen Michael Kopech? Michael Kopech looks like 4. I mean, Michael Kopech is gorgeous. And I'm not even gay. I'm just saying he's a good looking man. That's how not gay I am. I'm so straight that I'm totally comfortable. I feel bad. Adam, I don't know that they have little kids. I feel bad if they have little kids, for sure. That's tough. But can't feel uniquely bad for those little kids because that's a situation that little kids all across this great land of ours consider normal, warring parents and all that. All right, guys, we are done. We are out of show. We can't do anymore. We can, but don't want to. I got other things to do. A reminder, if you support this kind of talk radio, non-biased, just fun, just regular conversational talk, and you're impressed by my abilities to do 2 hours of stream of consciousness, no breaks, no nothing, just me talking. Did you notice? I'm sure you did. It's very annoying. That's why the show doesn't grow, I think. I think this is just way too much. And when it's done, it's done. We'll see you tonight. We'll see you tonight for Radio Misfits. Yeah, Peter. I should play Peter's song. I don't have it handy, so we won't do it today. But Peter wrote a song, and I got to get out of here. It's 2:00. Tonight, 9:00, Radio Misfits, myself and James Parker. This show is informative. This show is utilitarian. This show is all about things you need to know. The 9:00 show that I do with James Parker, more conversational. We had a nice long conversation about the Jonathan Major situation. Jonathan Major, the actor who's being accused of, stuff that he obviously didn't do. We talked about that. We watched the video of him running away yesterday. I thought that was a good show. What else? Nothing. That's it. All right. I like you guys. I love you guys. If I'm being honest, I love you guys. Until I can figure out a way to end this show, until I can figure out a way to have a theme queued up every time, this is just how the show is going to end every day.